Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm going to be discussing stem cells. So before I get started, I want to present to you a disclaimer, and I'm actually going to read this, so here we go. So anything that you hear today is going to be a work of fiction, and any names, characters, places, events, and incidents are either a product of my own imaginations or used in a fictitious manner. So any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental, and that's going to include any businesses. And so keep that in mind while you are listening and watching my video today. Stem cells have the potential to turn into any type of cell. That's why they are so interesting, and that's why they're currently being studied. However, people who are outside their scope of medicine, outside their scope of whatever their discipline may be, are currently using them as alternative treatments that have no proven efficacy. So this is something that's very serious and a real problem in the United States. Not only are people being swindled by this, but the people who are offering these treatments at these medical clinics are not trained to do so. So they're injuring people, but also they are preventing patients from getting needed care. So we see this especially in the area of cancer. Unfortunately, stem cell clinics are finding these vulnerable populations and telling them that they can put their cancer into remission and be this cure-all that modern medicine hasn't been able to do. So they're saying, hey, why not come try us out, because we might be able to cure your cancer, or we might be able to cure whatever type of ailment you have. We are far from that. What I want to be focusing on this evening is going to be these fraudulent centers, and particularly around the communication that they're doing online, and then how that relates to their offline activity. So to begin, what I want to tell you is that this weekend I actually walked over to a clinic that currently offers stem cell injections. A little journey for some stem cells in downtown LA. I picked up a pamphlet that was in the waiting room. I found them through social media. This first stem cell clinic I found through Instagram. I mentioned this in my previous video that Instagram is bizarre for me because I currently have it set up so that I'm following a bunch of physicians and then a bunch of other medical professionals, but I'm also following a lot of wellness types, naturopaths, chiropractors, everything under the sun. So the ads that hit my account are just all over the place. They're pretty wacky, and if you're interested, I have a couple threads on Twitter where I actually show some of the stuff that is just populating on my feed. Anyways, so this company, I found them because they were one of the paid ads that showed up in my feed, and it was really interesting because so far this has been the only stem cell clinic that I've found via paid advertisement. It was super positive, and it was like this woman who's just running up a hill, and it says, reach your cellular potential. So of course I said, well, okay, this looks interesting, and I looked at the company, and then I looked at who owns the company, works at it, and everything, and that's where things got really interesting, because the CEO of the company was actually somebody who worked at this clinic that shut down in San Diego. It's called StemGenX. And so what happened at StemGenX is a class action lawsuit went forward and about their faulty advertisements. So they ended up having to shut down because a bunch of people stepped forward and they couldn't afford to stay in business. And so they had actually received a warning letter from the FDA before this. So there were all sorts of issues at that clinic. And so this was great news. The issue is it opened up opportunity for other clinics to step up and form in its place. So a clinic did form in its place, and this is somebody who had worked at STEM Gen X, and so he's now the CEO of this. And according to the filings, he seems to be the only one who's an owner right now. What this business does is it claims to connect patients with people with different providers. And so the way that they do this is all of their operations are in Mexico. They have clinics that they've partnered with in Tijuana and Cancun. They bring you to San Diego, you meet them. They say, yeah, you're a perfect candidate. We'll send you to one of our clinics that they're like affiliated with or partnering with, and off you go. And I think from their website, it looks like they will actually accompany you. So that sounds pretty expensive. But what's interesting too is I went through and I looked at the owner and tried to get an understanding of his background and who he was, what his expertise was. Turns out that he has a degree, he has an undergraduate degree in kinesiology, and now he owns a stem cell clinic. That's just insane to me. It's insane, you guys. Yeah, it's wild that somebody who you can't pick this stuff up. This is hard science. You have to go to school for it. You have to go through training. You have to have wet lab experience in order to really understand this stuff. And you know, it's almost a slap in the face to people, to actual scientists, to have somebody like that just see an opportunity and try and run with it. And so, yeah, rant over. So that's his business. That's their business model. What they do is recruit people in the United States, and then they have them leave the country so that they don't run into issues with the FDA. This other clinic, though, this one in Michigan is so bizarre. It's so freaking bizarre. I went to Facebook, which I'm never on. I literally only go on Facebook when I want to look for misinformation. Other than that, this is a dead platform to me. I would prefer to be off Facebook, but I need to stay on it to track misinformation. So when I go to Facebook and I type in stem cell clinics, this one clinic showed up, and it's kind of crazy because this clinic is really bizarre. There are 3 different websites, and it sent me down this whole rabbit hole because it turns out this guy has like at least 8 different websites, and it's just, I could do a full video on him and what he's up to. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to stick to stem cells. Free stem cell seminar and this is like a location across the border in Canada, and we'll be discussing how people are getting help with chronic pain from arthritis, degenerative joints, including knee, back, hip, neck, and shoulder. Find out how people are avoiding drugs and surgery with our safe, effective, affordable care. Click to reserve a seat before they are all gone. So this page has a total of 6 likes on it. This is a new page. It wasn't around before February, and all of a sudden it just comes out guns blazing with this post. Now, you'd think that something like this was a paid advertisement. I looked at the page, I looked at the transparency of the page. It turns out that it's not. And I mention that because this is just so bizarre. For a page with that low engagement, that number of eyes on it, it's insane, because this has been shared 89 times. It has 115 likes on it, and there are, let's see how many. There are 47 comments on this. You would never see that from just a regular Facebook page or just even a business page that's starting out. It's so bizarre. When we click on the link for the clinic, it takes us to one of his websites. One of his many websites. Like I said, this guy has websites all over the place. And in this clinic, in this page, he says, safe, effective, non-surgical approaches for arthritis, chronic joint pain, lower back pain, bulges, and herniated discs, shoulder damage, blah, 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 blah. And so my favorite part is our stem cell care is safe, effective, and ethical. It's just a whole bunch, it's word salad, honestly. So in this free seminar, he'll be discussing what are stem cells, how do stem cells work, why stem cells are effective, what are the different types of stem cell care available, how surgical procedures for stem cell care are no longer necessary, who are candidates for the care, what are and what are not realistic expectations. He's a chiropractor, and he is injecting stem cells into people, you guys. And apparently he's also harvesting them, because on one of his websites he says that they do ethical treatment with like the mother's consent, and I just don't even know about that. There's issues there, but I thought it was important to mention him and his business because he's actually recruiting people from Canada to come to his clinic in Michigan. So as you can see, all of these different clinics, they have very different styles and techniques and approaches, and it's sort of wild to think about how they operate and what their approaches and their tactics are. But so with this guy, I do want to share a little bit more information because it's really bizarre, you guys. He's a different breed. Truly a different breed. What ends up happening is he's just traveling, giving a seminar all throughout Michigan and in Canada and even in Ohio. And, so he's reaching all these different audiences and trying to lure them to his clinic. I'm telling you, there's so many websites this guy has. Okay. Here we go. So the website here is, he's explaining his whole thing with these seminars that he gives. And he starts off by saying how this 53-year-old fat and balding chiropractor with a speech impediment consistently attracts his highest quality patients from free seminars. Okay, I know I shouldn't laugh, because this is serious stuff, but honestly, I can't take him seriously. I can't take this content seriously, because he goes on and says, if you'd like to attract dozens of high quality new patients each month, almost on demand, then you're going to love what I'm about to share with you. Let's face it, business has changed. The old hard sale methods aren't working anymore. You have to use techniques that fit today's skeptical consumers. Good Lord, no physician should become a salesman. This is why people think that people these wellness types are snake oil salesmen, finding stuff like this, it kind of just fits the mold. So he continues. There aren't enough new patients coming through the door, and the ones you are getting are low quality. What is a low quality patient, first of all? The ones you're getting are low quality. They don't show up for appointments, they don't have any money, or they expect insurance to pay for everything. Of course they expect insurance to pay for everything because they have insurance, and a place like this that doesn't accept insurance, you're gonna be skeptical of it. They've been burned before, and they challenge your advice at every turn. Your sales approaches, of course anybody would question this. If you're going to succeed in today's market, you've got to have a better system. So if you've seen It's Always Sunny, when I read this, I immediately think of the dentist system. But anyways, a system that consistently attracts high quality patients who show up on time, pay their bills promptly, and follow your recommendations. Okay, and his credentials follow, or DNMSC, which I posted about recently, and FAAIM, which is another chiropractic credential. And I know what it's like to struggle getting quality patients. When I started my practice in 1990, I did the health talks, free screenings, low-cost offers, free consultations, and pretty much every new method for getting patients that came along. Sure, they pulled in a few patients, but they took up all of my time and weren't generating the right kind of patients or the right kind of income I dreamed of. There's too much to unpack there. Too many of them would end up canceling at the last minute or simply wouldn't show up. It was such an emotional roller coaster. I'd feel on top of the world with a full schedule, only to be let down with cancellations and no-shows. There had to be a better way. I knew a few doctors getting good results from seminars, so I gave it a try and made lots of big mistakes along the way. I'm sure you did. I overcame my fears, learned from my mistakes, and signed up quality new patients even after my worst presentations. Here's the first problem. I was absolutely terrified to speak in front of people. Yeah, he goes on and talks about his seminars and his fear of public speaking and his communications and trying to be a friend to everybody and engage in small talk, like AKA be a normal, decent human being. And I chased after patients, in quotes, instead of them chasing after me. Yikes. They could sense my desperation and bolted for the door. I think any normal person would do that. After getting the crowd ready to sign up, I totally blew the he says, I totally blew the close and destroyed all hope of converting any patients. Does this remind you of anything? We'll keep going. I didn't pre-qualify each lead, resulting in poor quality attendees that wasted my time. I wasn't being myself and didn't express my passion, leaving the audience bored, lethargic, and desperate to abandon the meeting. Yeah, it's just this bunch of trash. So he goes through and he's basically like, look at this page. It's, oh, there he is. Oh yeah, okay. So you can buy his method, which sounds very much so like a pickup artist thing. It sounds like The Game from Neil Strauss. You can buy this for 3 payments of $375 or a full payment of $995, and he will tell you all of his techniques. And you know what? Honestly, if you want some communication training and you are thinking about spending money, contact me first, because I will give you tips for free if you save your money and don't spend it on, you know, something like this that is just really troublesome. So honestly, that's just like, this is just scratching the surface on the type of stuff that goes on with these stem cell clinics and why they're so problematic. I've been mulling over this information. There's so much more information with these 2 clinics, and it's just got to the point where I couldn't really center the conversation or center the topics. So what I'm doing with this video is I really wanted to provide just a little bit of an overview so you can get a sense of this. To just recap, I want to say that these are 2 clinics that I found online, and even the IV drip one here that I walked to. The main theme with all 3 of these places is that they're using social media and they're using the internet to recruit patients. And not only that, they are packaging their information in a very attractive way, and they are depending on the clinic, not the one here in downtown, but the one in San Diego and the one in Michigan, they have activities that are across the border. The one in San Diego is sending patients to Mexico, and the one in Michigan is bringing patients in from Canada. And it just goes to show you that it's the wild, wild west when it comes to this stuff, because people are just doing anything and everything that they want to. And not only that, they're posting it online. You can see their activity, you can see their advertisements, and the really frustrating part is this is happening and nobody's doing anything about it. So I hope that with these conversations, more will come and more people will realize that these are issues, and hopefully someday we'll get to the point where these clinics are better regulated and this content is not tolerated and it's not allowed on social media. So more videos to come on this. Thanks so much for watching.